Welcome back, everybody. We're going to finish out Chapter 3 talking about graphing linear equations in slope-intercept form. Let's start with what is slope? Slope is essentially the measure of the steepness of a line. It is also the rate of change of a linear equation or function. We can write slope as m, and it is rise over run, or the change in y over the change in x. When the line rises from left to right, slope is positive. When the line falls from left to right, slope is negative. Let's take a look at some examples. So as I'm looking on this graph, our line is going upwards from left to right. So from left to right, our line is rising, which means this is positive slope. M, standing for the slope, remember, is rise over run. So we are rising 4, and we are running 6. And of course, we always want to make sure that we leave our fractions in simplest form. So we would reduce that to 2/3 and say the slope for example 1 is positive 2/3. If we look at example 2, if we're going from left to right, I'm following the line down. So left to right, the line is falling, which means this has negative slope. To find our rise over run, it's actually in this case going to be fall over run. So it looks like here I'm falling 3, negative because it's falling, and I'm running 2. I can't reduce 3 over 2, so we're leaving that as negative 3 over 2. Let's have you try 3, 4, and 5. Finding slope from a table. Well, this is where we can start looking at our slope formula because we're given a set of ordered pairs. And the biggest caution that I have for you about slope-intercept form is this subtraction. That subtraction always has to be written down, even if you have a value that has a negative. That would mean I'd have 2 negative signs or a subtraction sign and a negative sign. So please make sure that you're very careful about that, and we'll work on a couple of those as we're practicing here. But we can pick any 2 ordered pairs we want from the table. So let's say I want to pick 10, 8, and 4, 20. Remember, this is y, so I have y2, y1, x2, x1. Whatever has the little subscript 2, it has to be the same for both in that ordered pair. Same thing with the ones. So looking at my equation, I have 8 minus y1 is 20, x2 is 10 minus x1 is 4. So 8 minus 20 is negative 12. 10 minus 4 is 6. Negative 12 over 6 I can reduce. We can reduce that to negative 2. So the slope of the line for number 7 is negative 2. You could also put that as negative 2 over 1, so you have your rise over run. Or in this case, because it's negative, fall over run. Let's take a look at example 8. For example 8, we can again pick any two that we want. So let's pick the first two. And I'm going to go ahead and label. And plugging it into our equation, we have y2 minus y1 over x2, which is 1, minus, okay, this minus comes from that right there, and then x1 is negative 1. We have to have both of those there. Remember, minus negative, add the opposite, becomes positive. So 2 minus 2 is 0. 1 plus 1 is 2. 0 over 2 is 0. So this is 0 slope. 0 slope is a special line. That special line is horizontal. And we know the equation because this y is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. It's 2 all the way down. So it doesn't seem to matter what's happening to x. Y is 2 for every single one. And so our horizontal line equation is y is equal to 2. Let's take a look at this last table. On this last table, I'm going to change colors here. Again, we can pick any two that we want. So maybe I want to pick the last one and the first one. I'm going to put my labels on. Now, you don't have to label this every time. I just do because I like to visually see it to plop it into my equation. So our y2 is 9 minus our y1 is negative 3. So remember, this minus right here comes from here, and then this minus comes from the negative with the 3. On the bottom, we have negative 3 minus x1 is negative 3. So if I add the opposite, that's 9 plus 3 on the top, which is 12. On the bottom, add the opposite. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Uh-oh. Well, we can't have 0 in the denominator. That is undefined. So we have undefined slope. We've also heard it called no slope before, which means this is also a special line. And in this case, our special line is vertical. And we can see that in the x column, every single value there is negative 3. So x is equal to negative 3. So here's our summary of positive slope, rising from left to right, negative slope, falling from left to right. 0 slope is a horizontal line, and undefined or no slope is a vertical line. Okay, please make sure that you note that 0 slope and no slope or undefined slope are two very different things. All right, if you would please try 10 and 11, we will discuss this next class. Thank you very much. Have a good night.